Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Techno Talks here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the OnePlus 9 and giving y'all my thoughts after around a week of using this device. So there are going to be some categories that I will be talking about, and these are going to be including the display, the battery, the charging, the camera, obviously, biometrics like the fingerprint scanner and then the face unlock, and then also the design of the device. So first up, I'd like to start with the design, and in all of these categories, I will be listing out what I like and what I dislike about it. So let's go ahead and begin. So as I said, first up, let's go ahead and start with the design of this device. So the design, I loved it out of the box. So it was really beautiful, especially this color right here that I got. It's really beautiful. It looks really nice, and in certain lighting conditions it does change a little bit during the night. Like if there's minimal light, sometimes it gets a little darker with some greenish tint, and then it usually is pink though. So it's this nice like pinkish purple color, which I really love myself. So other than that, the color is beautiful, as I said. And then coming to the design and the build that they've done, so the camera layout looks really nice. Honestly, the Hasselblad logo right there, or the branding, really doesn't bother me too much. It's not like what Samsung did with their S20 with the 100 times, where they just embedded it right there in front of the camera, which didn't really look nice. But the Hasselblad is a minimal thing right there. It's a minimal writing. It's not a lot. It doesn't cover the whole area, so I'm fine with that. And the camera cutout area and the camera design layout is really nice overall. So next up, we also have the OnePlus logo right there. Obviously that looks really nice there. I don't know if they can make it a different color, but this is what it looks like. It's just a plain, it looks a little silvery black color where it's just embedded into there. So overall, the back part looks really nice. So coming to the sides are pretty good. The back plate actually rounds off into the middle area, so it rounds off into the aluminum section, which gives you a better grip. So when you're holding it, the sides don't like jab into your fingers and they don't start like hurting your hands after a while. So that's really nice. It does make the phone a little thicker, so it is a tad bit thicker than most flagship devices, but honestly, I'm ready to give that sacrifice if it's gonna allow me to hold the device a lot longer than usual. So the front design right here is very simple, but it's one of the best designs that you could probably have on a smartphone as of 2021. And it's the punch hole cutout right there. That's where the camera is. And then it's a full screen display right here. So you get, I guess, the most usability this way, because the camera is only taking a tad bit, like a small portion of the display, and you have this whole area right here. So the overall design, I would give this a 7 out of 10. And the main reason is because the back isn't a matte finish and it's a fingerprint magnet, so I could just hold this for a little bit and you could get fingerprints on this right away, which does get annoying after a while unless you're wearing a case on your device. So now that we're done with the design, let's go ahead and talk about the display real quick. So we do have a 1080p display, but since I have used another 1080p display device, and some of y'all, if you have watched my previous videos, might already know that I use the S21 as my daily driver, and so that device right there also has a 1080p display with 120 hertz, which this has as well. So overall, the 1080p doesn't really bother me. You don't really see a big difference unless you're pixel peeping, and the general user will probably not see too big of a difference when they're using this device. So honestly, it's not a bother. It doesn't really bother me. And the display rating overall, I'd give this like a 9 out of 10. Plus the brightness is really nice. There are some certain times when the sun is just beaming down onto it and I can barely see it, but overall the brightness is pretty good for the daily use of going outside, staying in the car, or let's say you're just at home, because at home you probably don't get sunlight onto your device. So overall the display is a 9 out of 10, and I really enjoyed using this device. I did watch a lot of Netflix shows on here. I did obviously watch anime on here as well, and overall this pretty nice 6.5 inch display does the job, and I've really had a nice time enjoying watching my shows. So now that we're done with the display, and as I said, that's a 9 out of 10 for the display because the design is really good, and then also having it 1080p doesn't really bother me, so I'm not even going to put that in the point system right there, and so that's why it gets a 9 out of 10. Some of you might care about the 1080p display, so y'all might give it a lower score, but personally, after my 1 week of usage with this device, that's what I give it. So next up, let's go ahead and talk about the biometrics real quick. So this is an important part because a lot of people care about this, and I kind of got annoyed by it. So as you can see right here, the fingerprint sensor is located all the way down here on the display, the very bottom portion. So when you're holding the device, you always have to go down like this instead of like maybe up here like the S21 series. And this is very similar to what was the issue that the S10 series had of Samsung. So they had theirs low, really low as well, and so it would actually annoy people to like bring their thumb down all the way just to reach it, and so it's kind of annoying. But after a certain time, you do get used to it, so some people might not get bothered by it, but it still does bother me because it is really low and it's just not in the ideal place. I'd rather have it like down here where that podcast app is, and it would be a lot easier to reach when holding it in one hand. So other than that right there, like the placement of the fingerprint sensor, this fingerprint sensor is just really quick. It's one of the fastest that I've used. As you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and plop my thumb down and it's already unlocked. Boom. So it's really fast. It's one of the fastest, as I said, and overall I've enjoyed using it. So with the quickness of it, I've enjoyed using it. Other than the placement of it, as I said, everything else is perfect about that fingerprint sensor. So next up, we also have our face unlock. So it is 2D, as you can see right there, but it works pretty fast. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it out real quick. So let me go ahead and bring this to the side. And as you can see, it is basically instant. Boom, boom. So the biometrics right there are really good on the OnePlus 9. It might be 2D, but if nobody's trying to break into your phone and they really don't have a picture of you or like a really well-made picture of you, they probably won't be able to get into this device. And if you have your device on you at all times, it's really not going to matter too much. I do use the 2D face unlock on all my devices that support it, and those would be the S21, the S10, and then also some other phones that I have. And I do use it personally. I've used this since the day it came out, and so I haven't had any issues with it. I've really enjoyed using it. And so if you don't care too much about the privacy, like privacy wise, I'd say like it's a 6 out of 10 for the face unlock, and then like a 8 or 9 out of 10 for the fingerprint sensor. So there's not a really huge difference, and it doesn't really impact me when using the device. And so the face unlock is a perfect way, I guess a perfect solution to use your phone without using your hands or trying to like unlock it with your fingerprint. Let's say your fingers are greasy and you're trying to get into your phone. The face unlock is really fast. It's basically instantaneous on this device. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give the biometrics a 9 out of 10 as well. So next up, let's go ahead and talk about the battery. So we do have a pretty big battery in here. We have a 4500 milliamp hour battery, and let me go ahead and say that this battery will last you the whole day and some extra as well. So in the 7-day period of using this device, I haven't really been able to drain it unless I did some heavy tasks, and the main purpose was to drain the battery. Other than that, during my daily usage, I never managed to get it below, I say like 20%. The lowest I got was probably 15%, and that was a day that I really did try to drain the battery. I did basically everything on the phone. I'm pretty sure I got like 6.5 hours, 7 hours of screen time on this device, and that's what I was able to drop it down to. So the battery life is perfect on this. The battery size is really good. 4500 milliamp hour battery is a really nice size for a battery on a smartphone. And then also having a 1080p display on here, that probably benefits us as well. You do have a 120 hertz display, but I don't think it's gonna affect it too much. And so with that 4500 milliamp hour battery and the 1080p capacity, plus the Snapdragon 888 chipset, which is 25% more battery efficient, well, at least what it says in the books, it really does last you the whole day and some extra as well. So now that we're in the battery section, let's go ahead and talk about charging real quick. So the charging is, if you're using the charger that came with it, which this device does support 65 watt fast charging, which is basically super fast charging, because 65 watts you really don't see on a lot of phones. So let's say Samsung even dropped theirs to 25 watts. They had a 45 watt variant, but on their S21 series, they dropped it to 25 watts. And then you have Apple, which has 20 watt at max. And then you have some other companies like Google, which has 18 watts. But you do have some companies like Oppo and like Xiaomi and Huawei, which do a lot faster charging. But other than those, which aren't really known brands, I guess in North America, I'd say the OnePlus has one of the best charging in North America. 65 watts. Usually, I go to up this device on charge like an hour before I usually go anywhere, and all the time. Once I check the phone out again, it's at 100%. So I haven't really done a battery test on it. I never went ahead and checked it or recorded times on it so far, but I will hopefully be making a video on that. I'll probably compare it to like an S21 battery charging test or whatnot. I'll probably do one of those. But so far, after that 1 hour of just having it plugged in, it was always at 100%. So this probably did go from 0 to 100 even earlier than that hour, and so that's pretty impressive speeds right there. And you could probably charge this for like 30 minutes and get like 70%, and you'd probably be good for a whole day's trip. So the 4500 milliamp hour battery plus the 65 watt charging, this device will definitely be a beast at keeping the juice ready at all times for your use, and so you will not have any issues with battery life, and you probably won't be thinking about it. Let's say you had a device that didn't have the best battery life. With this phone, you're never going to be thinking about if I should charge my phone right now or if I should do it later. Am I gonna have enough juice left for the whole day? So you really don't have to think about those with this device. You get perfect battery life, plus you get really speedy fast charging. So now that we're done with all those and we got all those out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the final thing that I really wanted to speak about. So the cameras. Cameras, they're a little debatable on this device. Even though they went ahead and got a partnership with Hasselblad, let me go and show their thing right there again, Hasselblad. Even though they did this, personally, the cameras, they have improved. They've definitely improved. I also own the OnePlus 8, and from my test that I did with that, the camera on this is definitely better by quite a lot, actually. But in the video recording area, I still haven't really been able to suggest an Android phone that is better than a Samsung smartphone that records video. So I'm talking about the flagship series mainly, so the S21 series. And when compared to these, the video recording is better on those when compared to, let's say, Google's video recording or OnePlus's video recording, like I tested out on this phone, and then some other Android brands that I've tested out. So personally, as I said, the video recording isn't the best. I don't know, sometimes it's a little laggy. Sometimes when you're recording the video, it doesn't have the best stability, I guess. It doesn't stabilize the video as well as Samsung. And then the colors do sometimes the colors are sometimes off, like it does some extra HDR, and then some things are just very vibrant, some things aren't. The colors are a little off, as I said, and the video overall isn't the best. So I would not really recommend this if you're going for a phone with with video capabilities. If you're looking for an Android device with video capabilities, go for the S21 Ultra. That's probably going to be your best bet on Android side. And then if you're looking for an iPhone, you already know the 12 Pro Max, since they only have one series of devices. So as I said, the camera isn't the best. Pictures are really good, especially with the rear camera right here. You get really nice pictures, and then you also get this macro lens. I believe that's the macro lens right there. I did try and take some shots with it, and I believe this is the only macro lens that is actually useful on a smartphone. Other than this, like every other smartphone that I've seen with a macro lens, it's either just terrible and it's just there for a gimmick, or it just doesn't work at all. It's just the worst thing you've probably tried. The quality is probably really useless, really bad, and you're probably not going to be able to use those photos. So as I said, the camera for pictures on the rear end of this are really great. I've got some really good shots. Portrait mode is a little debatable. Sometimes it's not able to get the blurriness effect really well, and it like blurs out your hair and sometimes some part of your face or some parts of your clothes. And so portrait mode is okay, but the pictures are overall really good, and I'd probably give those pictures like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 when comparing to other smartphones. So now that we're done talking about the rear camera, let's talk about the front camera right here. Right here, this front camera does take pretty good pictures, but you need a lot of light. if you don't have a lot of light or your area isn't well lit, the pictures are a little blurry. So they're not the best, and I haven't really liked them a lot. I haven't really liked the pictures that I got from the front facing camera, and so I really wouldn't recommend it for that. They haven't been the best, especially the video wasn't good, really good either, and the photos weren't the best either. So other than that, if you really don't care about the camera too much, this phone right here is really good. So everything else, all the other categories I listed out, I gave it all above a 7 out of 10, and overall I'd probably give this like an 8 out of 10 for this device. And for the price of $700, I mean $800, this device is just perfect. So you could get this or the S21, but if you really don't care about the camera, I'd go ahead and go for the OnePlus 9 right here. So this is my 1 week later impressions and I guess my thoughts on the device. And right now I'll go ahead and tell y'all, if y'all want to buy a device at this price point, this is one of the best devices you could buy. And as I said, if you really don't care about camera quality too much, then go ahead, get this device. It's really snappy. I haven't had any lag with it, no app shutdowns, and overall my usage during the 1 week period has been great. And then one little bonus I'd like to talk about is going to be this ringer right here. This right here is just one of the best things that you could have on a device. I don't know why other Android devices don't have this yet, but the only devices that have this as of right now are going to be OnePlus's and Apple's devices, since they've been doing it for a couple of years now. So these are my final thoughts on this device, and I guess this wraps the video up. So if y'all enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.